Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to another episode of The Last Bachelor. And this is episode 33. Creating boundaries are very important for our self-care. It's how we let others know what we will and will not tolerate. Having boundaries help you define what you are comfortable with and how you would like to be treated by others. It is what we say yes and no to that shape our lives. If you have weak boundaries, you're leaving the door wide open for people to take full advantage of you. I feel that not many of us learn how to do this, which is why in many cases, we take a lot of shit from people we care about or who we think care about us. Any relationship is a two-way street and should be treated as such. It's a simple concept. Treat people as you would like to be treated. In the past, I was always the people pleaser. And I'm just going to say the past because we're not going to go way back. But yeah, I was always the guy who lived to be liked. I would always like to be reliable and available to people 24/7. I found it rude to say no. I always thought a good friend or relative never says no. And I was always overly generous with people who never really returned the gesture. For example, that one relative who only calls you when they need something, or that one friend that only calls to ask for money or to ask what you're doing. I learned later in life that wasn't the way I wanted to live. I would often find myself eliminating stuff I had to get done just to be there for people who barely were there for me. It wasn't until my late 20s when I had what psychologist Tara Brach calls a sacred pause. And I started to analyze some of my relationships. And then I chose to start creating healthy boundaries for myself. And I wish I could say it was an easy process, but the fact is it's not. It can be a little stressful. Yeah, it's crazy how something that's supposed to help with your mental health can also be a little stressful. But it comes with the territory. Some people may choose isolation in order to deal with boundaries. But that's not recommended by mental health professionals. They call that rigid boundaries. When I started to say no, I also started to notice people's change towards me. It was as if the word itself was an insult. But make no mistake that anyone who gets upset at your boundaries gives you more of a reason that boundary was necessary. A good friend or relative will respect your boundaries. That's called having a mutual respect. A person with healthy boundaries knows what they value and will not compromise on those values. Boundaries are a form of self-care. Once we learn this, we can pass it down to our children because it's very important they also know how to be valued correctly. When we actually think about boundaries, we also have to think about which boundaries need to be set in our lives. One is you should set a boundary on time. Make sure that you are not taking time from the things you need to accomplish just to accommodate someone else. Time is valuable. That's one thing that you could give away and you will not get back. So please spend that time wisely. 2. Emotional boundaries are important to set, especially if you're dating or any relationship for that matter. Having a healthy boundary in this area prevents you from telling too much personal information too soon. A healthy boundary looks like slowly disclosing personal information as the relationship evolves. And some might use the third one, material boundaries. That has to do with money or any type of possessions that belong to you. That's also important. People could respect that too. I'm with it. Setting clear boundaries is a clear way to gain respect. You will notice that the more boundaries you set, the more people will just go, you will see negative people slowly disappear into the background. And they will be replaced by people who value your boundaries. Today's ending quote comes from Dr. Sherry Campbell. I follow Dr. Sherry on Instagram and Facebook. She is very good at what she does. She's also the author of the book, Your Pocket Therapist. Super helpful book. Manipulative people are threatened by anyone who can see through their antics and set firm boundaries on their behavior. You've been listening to The Last Bachelor. Till the next episode.